Hello, you guys. I'm just gonna make a video now, or another one to I guess to go over what's going on in the crypto market. So again, overall I am bearish, but short term we might get a buy off this 8K level, and so in Bitcoin. And so again, I'm just looking at this chart in Bitcoin. And obviously on this long-term 3-day chart we have this big triangle that broke down and then negated it by breaking out to the upside. That really threw me off. And on a daily I have get a marker. On the daily, we have this 618 that's been resistance. I wish this just happened, but I think that around this 8K level, there's going to be an attempt. There's going to be a lot of people who do want to buy this to take it higher. Again, if I only had Bitcoin to look at, I would think that would happen. The problem is all the other alt charts are extremely bearish, and they haven't, or not all, but a lot of them are. And so I haven't really been able to really go long. And obviously in July, that's been to my detriment. So I have to figure out what to do now, and be as objective as possible with myself, because it's better to admit I'm wrong than to just hold on to a view because I've had it, which would worsen the problem. There is support in this on this daily chart. I'm gonna have to zoom in, but on this daily chart, where is support? Obviously back on, or if this were a retest all the way back down. This 618 is important, and I am kind of getting a little worried that if we continue much higher, the situation will be negated. Hold on. So we'll have to see. What I do like is on this 12-hour chart, or on this on the earlier move today, there was a move from like 7,700 to 8,000, and then from 8,000 to like 8,300 yesterday. There wasn't really follow through on the alts, which shows me even with this breakout, they're all extremely weak, and that confirms more the bear side. So which is great for me. One thing I need to mine is this trend line that's been resistance, and I want to extend that out. And that should also be support. obviously going to look at that as support. Yeah. I don't have divergence or on volume or MACD, and so on 12 hours, so they're not really suggesting a turnaround. But one thing that is important is after the initial move, you generally have a move of a similar length up, and that's more or less happened. And so after a two-stage move, there's more of a bigger correction, and that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for more down. On this 6 hour and on the 6 hour chart, I don't really have divergence of any kind. I did on this peak, where price was volume was declining as price was heading up, and then I guess a lot of traders, that was indicative that there wasn't a lot of money taking it up there, and then also a lot of traders might want to short and cover based on that volume reading. Shit. On a 4 hour chart, is there anything that helpful? Not particularly. Again, in terms of support and resistance, I have 8K. It didn't hit 8K, but got a little above it, and that might be it. And so, you know, we'll have to see. I do think at least this is likely, and then I hope shorts come in. I really hope. But you know, 8K is here, so we could drop a little further, and that's what I'm hoping happens. Okay. This is Ethereum. I'm gonna start. Just hold on for a second to write something very quick.
간에 좋은, 장에 좋은 성분, 일일이 찾아 헤매지 않도록 하나를 압축해 담는다는 원칙. 필요한 건강에 플러스 알파가 되도록 정관장 알파 프로젝트.
Okay, this is Ethereum, and on an Ethereum chart, it's very clear there's this huge ascending trend line. A mistake was not, I guess, was shorting like very close to the trend line or not paying heed that we were at this trend line and getting its head and shoulders. Which doesn't just have to equal the distance of the neckline to the head. It can be a lot more, and it certainly was. But by this alone, I would have turned bearish, but bullish, and I did. But the fact that we dropped all the way back has been very bearish. It's like, you know, on a bullish move like that, for all these alts to do that is, you know, there's something not strong about this market, and that is keeping me on the bear side. So I have this, essentially this bear flag that seems to be forming. And based on the angle, this doesn't look bullish really. I mean, I have 4, 3. This is like a good, you know, the angle of this is very bearish. And of course, there is a danger Ethereum can get back up there. I think because how weak it's been, I think it's unlikely. I mean, Bitcoin got all the way up to 8K, and Ethereum is still close to its lows. This is a serious case of weakness. And so I have to be very cautious about turning long. And certainly based on the higher low and higher high, it makes sense that people will want a long, hoping for more of this. But I'm kind of wary of doing that because of how weak these have been. Bitcoin has generally been the best thing to go long on. And so until that changes, I think the best thing, if I'm going to go long, it will be in Bitcoin. That's a 4-hour chart, but on a daily chart, is there anything helpful in volume or MACD, or can I read something in price action? No, but I can identify resistance and support. That's resistance, and then obviously just the horizontal. This is clear support. If this breaks, obviously it's downside. Downside heaven. I mean, if price got down to 420, it would be so amazing. So right now the next likely move is up, but I'm almost thinking that there's such a high chance that it won't succeed that I don't want to go long. I think at most I could hedge shorts, and that's it. I do see the 2-hour Bollinger Bands, but by the time price gets there, it probably won't matter. And then also, and that's supporting the downside. And then also, those highs will also be resistance. So if I want to short, I should plan to short, for example, here or add to a short there. You know, things like that. I'll be right back in just 2 minutes, just hold on. So yeah, I mean, this was support, and so the downtrend would end there. And so if I shorted, I should have watched for there to cover, and then maybe add back there. That's this is a 2-hour chart. Nothing really helpful on MACD or volume. Well, you know, again, because there's this clear higher high, that is very scary if I'm on the bear side. So, but on 1 hour chart, I mean, you could say we lower low this, and so there will be some sellers here. But I think this being support is more important, and so it might more likely do that. In any case, going long alt is not a good proposition relative to Bitcoin, and it hasn't been. So I don't want to, you know, just start doing that until there is clear evidence that the alts are going to outperform. And there was some evidence, or a little, or actually no, not yet. So that's it for Ethereum. I do think overall this is still a large bear flag we're in, and we're bottom bouncing, but I have to be prepared for the possibility that you know, it's gonna do that, and if that happens, I'm so screwed. This is Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash, see, Bitcoin Cash looks so bearish. It's this head and shoulders that form, and you know, something this large, I don't think it would just totally be meaningless, and then we just have that. Hello? So this doesn't particularly make me want to just go bullish. I mean, like, we had to bounce off support and it got sold again, and I think that is very bearish that we didn't just do that. I mean, the fact that we got all the way back down to the trend line as opposed to stopping like at a, you know, at a much clearer higher low, that is not a bullish thing to me. So I could be royally wrong, and certainly I've been really taken in the ass because I wasn't doing really thorough analysis each day and kind of updating my mind and my thoughts about what's going on, and so I didn't understand a lot of the price action, or I was I was misreading it. Everyone sees what's on the screen, but it's kind of like it's like my experience, and which is at least my judgment, and then but also the raw material of information that I need to sort of re-upload, and you know, to then use my judgment to interpret, to make sense of what's happening on the chart that it looks the same to everybody, but everybody's going to interpret differently, and to have the most accurate, truest interpretation, I have to have the fullest amount of accurate information, and then need the judgment to interpret it properly. Okay, I'm going to 12-hour chart. On this 12-hour chart, it doesn't really look like a bear flag because I haven't had, you know, this doesn't look as bearish as some of the other charts, which is obviously concerning. You know, we didn't drop back down to the trend line. It's just, you could have a triple bottom to a large degree already. If this broke below, though, that would be very bearish. I would love to see that. I just don't know if I will. So if Bitcoin drops to 8,000, I think the smartest thing to do is just hedge my positions. But it kind of didn't quite drop far enough. So I have to just hope at this point that I'll get it. On 2-hour chart, I have support from this Bollinger Band. And this area was a place for people to cover their shorts and then also go long. And that's happening. Will it sustain? I'm not sure. Shorts can short-term short there, and then obviously there. So, you know, this is important to keep in mind. So I'm hoping this isn't something serious, but it looks like it could be. Shit. I'm seeing how Bitcoin Cash isn't fully responding. It's starting to though. It just put in a higher low. And you could possibly have a short-term head and shoulders here. I don't want to panic back to the long side yet though. But there is a head and shoulders of some kind forming in Bitcoin Cash. And you know, Ethereum just broke out of one, a minor one, but it's still a head and shoulders. So, yeah, I mean, again, Bitcoin Cash doesn't look bearish really, and so, which sucks. This is RDN. This looks bearish. This is more of a bear flag. I don't know what RDN is. There's not a lot of information I can get from this on a long-term chart because the data isn't there. But on a 12-hour, this is just basically going sideways, and this could easily be something that continues on before it breaks down. It could break up though, so I have to watch that. This is a wax chart, and wax is converging into this triangle, meaning within several days, by the end of this month, it will break out. And I'm hoping it's down, but I don't know if it will be. This is OMG. OMG is one of the more bearish ones. Okay. So OMG on a long-term chart, and it's important to look over these long-term charts to remind myself why I'm bearish, because I can easily get sucked into price action, which is very bullish right now, and then flip incorrectly. So, and the more times I analyze this, the more like I guess solidified it becomes, and more the deeper my understanding of the situation becomes over time. And so I think the knowledge, it builds over time, and it's very important. So OMG is still basically near its lows, and the fact that it's here, it's one of the risk-on assets, and the fact that it's here when Bitcoin is making new highs, that situation, it just looks like, if this was a huge bull market, people would be buying stuff like OMG, but they're not. And so I don't understand how this could be a bull market if this is going on. And maybe at 7,700 it was okay because people weren't sure if this was a sector-wide breakout. But after it moved to 8K, there should have been some kind of response, and there wasn't. And so that makes me think people are not really interested. There's just a lot of weakness. On a 6-hour chart, is there anything helpful? Not really. A 12-hour, not really. Except I have this, I have this breakdown off this support, and then this sort of channel down, I guess you could say. And I would actually have preferred it if it was slightly ascending, because that's more of a bear flag. But it's not. I mean, I guess I could interpret that as that's support, or essentially we have a higher low, which would not be as bearish. So we'll have to see. If I zoom in, I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay. So again, OMG is certainly a great one to have shorted, just because it's not seeing the big bounce that, for example, Bitcoin Cash has. Bitcoin Cash is starting, by the way, to negate its, its sort of inverse head and shoulders that it had. Ugh. Hold on, I just drank something that's horrible. Okay, so again, I guess one thing I could look at is that as something that could be forming. And one important reason it is important to do this kind of analysis is so that I'm planning and not reacting. I'm not seeing bullishness and being, oh, I gotta buy it and jump in because it's going up. If I see bullishness, I'll understand why the likelihood might be that it's not going to last, so I don't get sucked in. I'll know where to short it, like maybe like not there, but like I would know to short it there or close along there. It's so that it's so that I can have like a handle on what's going on and then play it in the most optimal, most profitable way. And then I have true information, because a lot of times if I don't do my analysis, I'll think I know what's going on and I don't. And it will still feel like I know what's going on in my head, but I don't. And I have to be very aware of that. That just because I feel like I know what's going on doesn't mean I actually do, if I haven't done my analysis thoroughly. Because missing just a couple things can be a big deal. Maybe not by themselves, but added to other things. Like, for example, I might not have confidence to go long, but if I see a couple more things that I didn't miss, or if I miss a couple things that would give me more confidence to long, I would have missed the long, if that makes sense. So going long, going short, these are based not just on one thing but many things, and the more that I'm not missing, the more likely it is I'll be able to actually have the confidence to take those trades. And if I know that I'm not missing anything in all likelihood, then I'll know that those trades are good to avoid, and not be wondering, but be very confident in that. So knowledge is important, and knowledge has to be sought every day in trading. So yeah, the Bitcoin Cash negate like kind of negating its head and inverse head and shoulders is uh, makes it less bullish, which is great. So OMG's in this situation. I would love it for it to break down, but we haven't yet. But you know, it's things like OMG that make me very skeptical of this bull run, and I don't want to get sucked into going to the long side when like the risk on assets, the ones that people buy into in you know, bull markets, they're not really, they're not strong at all. So this doesn't look like a sustainable situation to me. This is Ven.
Impact of the gains and losses you do have. It's not so easy.
And I think that's the problem that everybody's starting to have with these large FANG stock companies. And I really think that this is where the politics are really going to get
volatility and uncertainty on these big tech firms. So
I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And I think
purchase, or does she make a purchase or whatever, and then they add that, and then they launch the advertising campaign. Because I could see how you could break up Amazon and algorithms and their reach.
On here on the show too, who are very skeptic about it. We also have a lot of listeners who are very positive about it.
Okay, then, sorry for that. Then, obviously, this doesn't look bullish when I have this very clear higher high, so...
So, I'm curious to hear not only your strongest
Central source technology speaks for itself and it's encrypted. Okay, so it's an encrypted distributed record of transactions. That's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is, you know, someday we'll look back and there'll be some very valuable cryptocurrencies and there'll be massive applications of permissioned and permissionless distributed ledger technologies, but there won't be any Bitcoins. There'll be like Beanie Babies or, you know, pet rocks. By the way, you can still buy a pet rock. You guys are a little young, you might not remember $3. I don't think that's very appealing. That's going to stand in the way of, you know, utilization of it as a currency. And then the Bitcoin fans go, well, here comes Lightning. You know, Lightning is going to solve all the problems. The person says it's a layer. Well, it is a layer. But all it is, it says to a group of users, hey,
So, seeing this, you know, strong downtrend, and then the first higher high, that is not comforting to the bear side. But you could say this is also just one leg. Like this is one leg. It's kind of hard to say, but in the context of I'm not really sure, but I do like the fact that there's this reversal candle here, which was more suggestive that that might be a top, but I don't know. So, you know, we'll have to see. And then after this is Zcash. On a long-term chart, there's another Head and Shoulders. I don't have data here, but it was lower from what I understand. Maybe it was like that, but it's still, you could say, a Head and Shoulders. And we seem to have broken below the neckline, but we're kind of breaking back up, which is not bearish, but it's not bullish yet, especially because I have price in this sideways channel. And we're near resistance, which, because it's near resistance, is more suggestive that there won't be another big move up. But if there is, it would really turn Zcash a lot more bullish. And the fact that we higher load isn't great. That's a clear higher low, and price got back up there, and it's suggested that we'll make a new high, which is not good for the bear side. But again, I don't have a lot of massive confirmation, like, you know, these things are not making new highs while Bitcoin is. That's not a bullish situation. That hasn't been for a while. So, you know, I have to go, I guess, to the more recent situations where when Bitcoin has been surging and everything has been dropping, that's been like a top. So on a 12 hour, is there anything else? Any divergence wouldn't necessarily help. I mean, maybe, because there's MACD divergence, but I don't have a higher high, and so that's not as good divergence. I do have some volume divergence, but you know, it's, I guess, you know, I guess you could almost say there already was that pullback, and maybe that's all. Maybe that's all we'll get. I'm not sure. And on an hourly, I guess we pulled back. On an hourly, it almost looks like this could be a head and shoulders, but you know, we will have to see. If price goes higher much more, it won't be a head and shoulders. So we have a head and shoulders potentially, but not right now. And at this top, there was 30-minute divergence on MACD. And I guess on an hourly, it's hard to see, and it wasn't really there. But on as you go short term, because this is more short term, that divergence becomes more clear, and some volume divergence also, which was supporting the possibility that this was a top. And on a 15-minute chart, there's even heavier divergence. So we'll see. Based on a 15-minute chart, this doesn't look like a head and shoulders. It looks like this is a triangle. It broke higher, pulled back, and it's gonna head higher. So we'll see. On EOS, I mean, unfortunately, this looks like an inverse head and shoulders from support. Which is sucks. On a daily, yeah, this is head and shoulders looking to be, I mean, this is, I can't lie to myself about what's going on here. This is a head and shoulders. Meaning, if this breaks out, it can take the whole sector with it. It can, you could say it almost, it could ignite all the alts to go along too. I mean, arguably, you could almost say this isn't a head and shoulders because of this giant space. So, I mean, that's possible too. I just think on a daily chart, it does look too much like a head and shoulders. And then that could possibly be support also. So, yeah. On 4 hour, is there anything helpful? No. 6 hour. That can no. I mean, again, resistance is there. That's a sell area, and that's the buyer. Except if it's a head and shoulders, that probably won't sell down much. On a short-term basis, you could almost say, is this a head and shoulders? Possible. This could be. I mean, I don't want to rationalize the situation to myself. But if price breaks down, yeah, that we'll have a drop to the lows. That's one possible scenario. So this, I guess, it's in the middle. This isn't like a short, and it's not a long. But it will be a short if this happens. So we'll have to see. If I saw minor divergence on this chart, there is a little volume divergence. There isn't MACD divergence. So on a 5-minute chart there is, which is more suggestive of downside. But I guess because it's not on a 15-minute chart, it's just not clear enough. This is ETC. Okay, we might be getting that move up. Very quickly, I want to just scan through these other charts. NEO is coming off support. Cardano maybe breaking out. Stellar just totally broke out. Oh shit. Oh god. Alright, I guess that's it for today.